Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I am going to talk to you about social media outreach. But before we get started, make sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel down below. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about for social media outreach is resources, my favorite thing. One resource in particular that I used is called the Bestseller Launch Blueprint Package. I think it ended up costing me about $28 or so, and it had a bunch of great advice for my launch, including how many people you should reach out to for bloggers and influencers, and it even gave an email template for what you want to put when you are speaking to those bloggers and influencers. I would highly recommend it. It's really helped, and I've personally used it, and it's worked very well. I think my typical response rate, although lately it's been a little bit lower with things going back to in person, I think with one of my books it was about a 50% said yes. And then with my other book, I think about a third of them said yes, which from what I've heard from my other friends is a lot higher than what they got with just trying to do it as a numbers game. The second thing I want to talk about is my top tips for reaching out to bloggers and influencers. My first tip is really get to know the person before you reach out to them, because a lot of times bloggers and influencers are kind of just not treated like normal people, and it's going to be really off-putting if they're treated that way by you as well. So really get to know the person, interact with them like a normal human, not like someone that you're just trying to get something out of. And do some genuine interaction on their post, follow them for a little while if you're able to, before reaching out to them. Build a little bit of a connection first, so you have that rapport with them before you're reaching out to them. Because you're going to typically have better luck with influencers and bloggers that you already have a little bit of a rapport with. And you don't need to necessarily go out and build rapport with them. You could also look at people that you're already following. They might be a good fit for you, especially if they're open to reviewers right now. So that would be where you want to start, is ones that you've built a rapport with, or building a rapport with bloggers and influencers that you haven't, that you might be interested in, genuinely interested in. My second tip for you is, when you reach out to those bloggers and influencers, build a connection with them. And by this I mean, mention something that both of you like, or maybe even that both of you don't like, depending on that blogger's personality. This is going to make them more likely to like you and more likely to want to respond and speak with you. One thing that I usually do is pick a book that I personally am very passionate about and really enjoy. And I see if they've reviewed that book and if they liked it. If they did, that's probably a good sign they might be a good fit for me. Because if we have similar interests, we might have similar tastes, and that probably means they're going to like the kind of stuff that I write, because I write stuff that's very similar to what I read. The other thing you want to do when you reach out to them is get to the point and make sure that you follow instructions. There is nothing more frustrating than when they put a bunch of instructions for you to follow and you don't read carefully enough and don't follow them. They're less likely to respond to you if you haven't followed those instructions. Make sure you follow the instructions very carefully and try to get to the point as quickly as possible. I usually, even in my email header, will put what type of book it is, or if I've worked with them before, I will put follow up to da-da-da book, or second book in this series. So that way they immediately know what it's going to be about and can decide from there if they want to continue reading. You also want to make sure that you're putting the genre very close to the beginning. So usually I build that connection, and then right after that I say why I'm reaching out to them, and give them my genre and maybe one or two tropes that are in the book that I know that they're going to be interested in. Or one or two things in the book in general that I know they're going to be interested in. After that, you really just want to, in your email that you send to them, kind of just sell the book to them, but don't do it in the same way you would for your typical customer. You want to tailor it to them as much as possible. Think about what in the book is going to be interesting to them and really highlight that in your pitch to them. If you know that blogger really likes happily ever afters and your book's a happily ever after, highlight that for them. And another thing you can do that really helps with bloggers and influencers, and that I like to do, is one thing to keep the relationship going. I usually have little goodies that go with the book for them. I do this for my regular print copies as well. I usually have character art and bookmarks and other types of goodies like those. It's just kind of a nice thing for them to get, and it also can sometimes make for great photographs as well. And the last thing I want to talk about when you're sending out those emails to bloggers and influencers is professionalism. Make sure, and I've been guilty of this on a couple of occasions, make sure that you are proofreading your emails very carefully before you send them. And if you're using a template, make sure that you don't have information that was intended to go to somebody else in their email, because that maybe indicates to them that you aren't quite as serious about it as someone else might be, and they're more likely to pass up your offer, as opposed to somebody else if you've made that mistake. So double and triple check your spelling. Make sure you don't have something in the template that was meant for someone else going to them. So be careful with that. But that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel down below. And let me know, what are some of your top tips for social media outreach? All right, thanks. Bye.